Hey Group 1, welcome to your reading. So this is for those of you that were drawn to the English bookstore or bookshop, Bookmark. Try to say that quickly, yeah? Oof. Okay, so I have here 4 decks. I will shuffle them for your reading and draw 1 card from each. And then I will have to have a look at the overall picture to try to understand what are you meant to do in this lifetime. I purposely selected doing, so a focus on actions that you might need to undertake in order to earn an income or become successful or reach your life path mission, because I didn't want to, I wanted to make it broad enough for a lot of you out there. So this is why I will mention some professions that might be suitable for you, but I do want you to take whatever you hear in this reading and make it your own. Apply it to your own intuition and your own characteristics, okay? Keep in mind, this is a general reading. So let's see. You got Nyx, Enchantress of the Night. This is from the Mausolea, Oracle of Souls. And the characteristics are secrets, vigilance, subterfuge. Okay. This one literally flew out of the deck. So we have here understanding from the Wisdom of the Night Oracle. So let's see from the Sacred and Divine Oracle, what card do we have? Focus. And finally, your tarot card from the Good Tarot. Five of Fire. Ooh. Okay, I'm just gonna say it straight up what I'm getting with these cards. There, in the profession that you will choose, there will be a lot of animosity and jealousy and envy, because I think mostly what Group 1 would be ideally suited for or is meant to do in this lifetime is pleasure. Yeah, beauty, but like darkly lit nighttime beauty. Okay, so this is really strange, but hear me out. You could be in a theater group. Ideally, you would be an actress. So acting on stage. You could also be a director, okay? I'm not trying to pigeonhole you into any of those kind of traditional professions, but this is about being an enchantress, right? You could be a belly dancer, you could be a club singer, you could be maybe even one of those girls that, in some nightclubs, they dance in cages and they look very voluptuous and sexy. This is about being even potentially kind of like a witch that is focused on sensual readings or on sexual healing. You could be a sexologist as well. This kind of like the lower vibration of this could be, you could be an escort, but I'm not in any way judging anyone for that, I mean, feel free to go and work in whatever profession you feel really happy to perform. But this is about that. This is about using your body, your femininity, for those of you that are women, to convey desire, to convey sexuality, to manifest pleasure in other people. So with Nyx here, she is such a gorgeous enchantress. And we have here like secrets and vigilance. So I do think that a lot of the professions that you will perform are undercover somewhere. So exactly, as an escort service, it's not something that's widely advertised. Or if you work in a nightclub, this is not something that a lot of people attach a lot of public status to, right? It is a bit hush hush. It is a bit, by word of mouth. You might work in certain select or elite clubs with invitation only. I do feel that you guys are part of that world. So nighttime, nightclubs, something that involves seduction, performing, in the more publicly exposed form of this energy. You could be an actress, an opera singer, either a theater actress or a film actress. Not that much television. I think you will have like a wider exposure. There is something here about the drama, the arts. I'm getting very strong 5th house in combination with 8th house placements. But yeah, there is a lot of envy. There is a lot of enmity. You could be one of those women that is so attractive, or even through the nature of your role, you're meant to work on your body to emphasize your good looks, to wear objects that might enhance, you might be wearing a lot of makeup, or you might be wearing very risky clothes that make you look very hot, and you might entice the jealousy and envy of other women. So it's a lot about, a game of light and shadow and power plays. This involves money earned from clients, but again, there is a lot of hush hush, around how you earn that money. And I do think that you, in spite of the fact that you are part of this kind of glamorous, kind of nighttime, mysterious, but sexy kind of world, I do think that for a lot of you, you would need to be very attentive to not being taken advantage of, be very attentive who your clients are, because they might be very powerful people who might be, crossing certain boundaries just because they think they can. You also have to be very focused on how you earn your money, because there might be a lot of secrecy around, money being delivered to your bank account and by whom. And, I think a lot of you might not even declare your earnings because of the fact that they are connected to powerful people or to certain environments and certain circumstances that are needed to be kept secret. So yeah, I'm getting kind of like, it's very kind of sensual energy, but at the same time, the potential for conflict, the potential for physical danger as well, for having people genuinely just being so envious of you, how can you be so attractive and so beautiful and so well kept and potentially rich? Some of you could be, might not even have a profession, but you might just be kept by certain people, like sugar daddies or sugar moms. I feel like you have this kind of oozing sexuality and sensuality that just want to, people just want to, when they see you, they want to make you their own. But I'm not sure if this actually might involve marriage, okay? So I'm not seeing here anything stable of that kind. This is very passionate energy, but you are a person that is able to understand and act in a very non-judgmental way with all the people around you. Some of you could be working in, could be very good at working in a traveling circus as well. So kind of like Cirque du Soleil, not necessarily a circus that involves animals, traveling animals, but like just traveling athletes. And just, you're very good at kind of hearing people's stories and accepting people from all walks of life. You're very non-judgmental, you're very accepting. I'm getting a sense of, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Diane Arbus and her photography. She was a Pisces Sun, and she was incredibly interesting because she was one of the first people to photograph outcasts and people that were considered on the fringes of society just because they were either small in size or either too large, or they were part of a circus, or they were transgender. So all these people that are somehow kind of breaking traditional norms, whatever that might mean, you have an understanding for them. You're able to listen to them. I have the feeling that you're this person that can listen for hours, right? So yeah, I don't know, I'm getting a very strong Eva Mendes vibe with you guys. So if you are a woman and you chose this pile, that's kind of like the vibe I'm getting. So you're sensual and sexual, you're an actress, but at the same time you're very charitable and kind, and you're able to raise your own family, but it's all done in secrecy, right? We don't know that much about her relationship with Ryan Gosling, even though they're one of the hottest actors couple out there. So there is that sense of secrecy, okay? So take it as it can apply in your situation, but I do feel like with Nyx here governing over your reading, the profession or the career path that would best suit you is something that has to do with sensuality, performance, using your feminine skills and tapping deeply into that kind of like alluring sensuality, almost like Lilith vibe as well, like wildly feminine and independent, owning your sexuality to the maximum and being able to earn an income with it as well. So that's what I had for you, group number 1. I hope it helped in some way. Stay tuned. In a second, I'll show you a photo with your spread. Hope to see you in my next one. Bye. Hey group 2, hello my loves. We're trying a different setting here. I'm filming this later at night. So this is for those of you that were drawn to this Modernist bookmark. I'm going to pull cards from 4 different decks. So I will try to uncover what are you meant to do in this lifetime. Keep in mind, I'm trying to keep this question as broad as possible. I specifically did not say what profession you are meant to do. It's all up to you whether you want to have just a sequence of jobs in your lifetime or whether you generally want to build a career. I'll try to see what pops up in the cards as well. But I do want you to take this reading and make it your own. It is a general reading, okay? So I will just give you some hints as to what environment or what kind of energy the career path that I see for you might have. That's why I focused it mostly on actions, right? What are you meant to act or to do in this life? So let's see. From the Good Tarot, you got Justice. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. Let's see what the other cards have to say. I'm laughing because there is a card here and I was like, wow, if it shows up, but it didn't. So we have here Azrael, the angel of death. This is rather clear, but let's see what the other 2 cards have to say. I'm using now the Sacred Destiny Oracle. Yeah, purity, like the message is becoming clearer and clearer. And finally, the last card from the Wisdom of the Night. Let's see. Self-worth. Hello, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Nice to meet you. This is such a departure energetically from the first group. Feel free to check that out as well if you're interested. But yeah, you're meant to serve the law. You are meant to bring justice into this world. You are meant to be a badass. I see you standing in court and defending people that are vulnerable and weak. Especially I think that you would work well as a defense lawyer or as a judge. So obviously in some cases and in certain countries, you do need to go through that lawyer apprenticeship phase before you actually, or professional phase before you actually reach the position of a judge. But I do see you working for a traditional institution that has to deal with the application of the rules of law. So I feel that a lot of you are very well spoken, not like me, like Mercury and Pisces. I feel like you guys are very ruthless. Like if you know that something is right, it's like nothing can change your mind. You can be quite domineering in certain conversations. When you know your facts, when you've done your research, nobody can sway you in the opposite direction. You are, however, open to change and you are open for conversations, but I think that a lot of you like to win. I'm getting like this very strong, well, that's not right, let's set it right. You know, that kind of vibe. A lot of you could be very strong alpha types. So, an alpha type is a person that overworks rather than underworks. It's very achievement oriented. And once you completed a goal, you might feel a little bit uncomfortable when a project wrapped up. You're like, okay, what's next? I need my next hit. Some of you could be running in the danger of becoming slightly workaholic, so be careful for that. Justice is the card of balance, okay, Libra energy. But you have a lot of self-worth. You know who you are, and you are not going to take bullshit from anyone. Very strong, empowering energy from you. You're very clear in your expressions. You get straight to the point. You're direct. You don't decorate your words with beautiful sentences. I feel like you are just very pure-hearted as well. Like, you don't understand why people break rules, and you don't understand why people are out there and rebellious and kind of weird. That makes you feel slightly unsafe. If this doesn't resonate with you, it's not your career path, it's not your pile. Please make sure you're on the right pile. But this is for those of you that are builders, kind of that energy of a builder. You're extroverted builders and commanders. I think in the Myers-Briggs test there was the judge, right, and the commander. I think that was the type, and you are that energy 100%. I think a lot of you are earth or air signs, or a combination of earth and air. You're very logical, you're very pragmatic, and you don't like to spend a lot of time on needless details or needless things. There is a part of you that is, however, quite creative and quite sweet, because there is this purity, right? Purity of heart. And there is kind of like a very repressed creative gene within you. This is why you're here watching a tarot pick a card. But I do feel that you, like, in the ways in which you can express yourself the best and work and earn money and feel successful, feel like your energy belongs to a specific environment, you would do well to reorient yourself towards justice professions, something that has to do with protecting the law, creating the law, revising the law as well. This is a big issue at the moment. People are, criticizing a number of laws that are antiquated and they're not serving us anymore. So you might be involved in the process of actually revising laws. Some of you, I think, could also work in drafting laws and kind of lobbying for other people. So you might be part of some groups that are trying to change a law or bring a new law into being because of some injustices in your environment. Some of you could do very well to work for large organizations like the World Health Foundation or the European Union. You could even work for the government. There is something here about respecting tradition and, studying quite a lot before you actually reach your desired profession. But when you reach it, it's like you have a very strong, stable moral status. And I think this is what shines through with your reading here. Group number 2, you're also able to kind of deal with, I feel like this is for those of you that might be involved in cases that have to do with life and death, death sentencing. Azrael is here. So you might actually work in those kind of cases, or might prepare to work as a lawyer with those specific types of cases. Or you could try to lobby against them, try to abolish the death penalty in some of the states, or gun control practices, better laws for hunting, so that a certain population of animals is not being decimated. There is something very strong for you. Some of you could even work in the police, or in kind of like institutions that protect people and protect the environment. Although I know that the police at the moment is heavily criticized, I'm kind of looking here into the traditional archetype of what police work actually means. Yeah, so you could be very good at that. You're very good at establishing rules, at respecting them, and at getting people to follow that through, And you're also very good at understanding and identifying where a mistake was made out of not out of a transgression. It's like, oh, I forgot to do that. It's like where ill intent happened. You're very quick at identifying that, and you understand very well the difference between right and wrong. Very moral kind of vibe I'm getting from you guys. So as I said, you could be Taurus or Libra, or Capricorn or Aquarius, these are the strong signs that I'm getting through. Even Virgos to a certain extent. But if you're a Virgo, I think you might work in the administrative part of the body of law, while the other groups might be more in a leadership role. Yeah, I do feel that you need to fill out a lot of forms, bureaucracy is involved, and decisions are made very slowly, but when they are made, they are final, as what happens in the case of a sentencing, or in the case of drafting a law, right? Or getting people to, after an analysis or an interview, to find out whether they were saying the truth or not, whether they get to pass their migration visa or not. So you could be working as well in the migration department. So this is where I see that your energy could be best applied to in the creation, reformation, and maintenance of law and of the rules that govern proper respect between people. Okay, so this is what I had for you, pile number 2. Stay tuned, because in a second I'll show you an image with your spread, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Okay, let me know down in the comments what you guys thought of this reading. I send you so much love. Bye. Hey group 3, hello my loves, how are you? This is a new setup. I'm experimenting with different lights. So I'm also filming this late at night. So this is for those of you that were drawn to this Arabic bookmark. This is your reading. I'm going to pull cards from 4 different oracle and tarot decks, and well, 4 in total. So let's see. What do we have here in terms of what are you meant to do in this lifetime? What is your professional path? Okay, so you got Sandalphon, Angel of New Life. Love. And you also got Call. This is the Judgment card. Interesting. It's very different energy than pile 1 and 2. So you guys are a really interesting bunch. We have here the High Priestess of Spirit. Okay, the message is slowly being confirmed. And I want to pull as well from the Sacred Destiny Oracle. So let's see. No. The Sacred Destiny Oracle has been really temperamental tonight. It's just not wanting to allow the cards to come out. There we go. Adventures. Okay. This is kind of like the Mother Teresa group. I feel that you are meant to do charitable work in the service of other people. So with the Angel of New Life and Love, Adventure, and the High Priestess of Spirit, but at the same time, all of this is kind of framed by the Judgment card. You are meant to do something moral, of service, something kind. It's selfless work. That's kind of what I'm hearing. Very strong 12th house influence. So you might be having your sun there, or you might be having a very strong Pluto or Saturn transit through your 12th house, which is kind of urging you to give of yourself, to self-sacrifice yourself in some way for the greater good. So yeah, I feel that you might travel a lot with adventures here. You might work for an organization that helps protect and rescue animals in endangered habitats. You could work with children who have been orphaned and they live in those kind of like SOS children's villages, for example, or you might need to travel to the war zones, such as the ones in Syria or Afghanistan, to try to help people there. So I feel like you would be able to equip them with mobile devices or give them access to food and shelter and water. You are very vital to people in some way, and you are very loving and kind. So this is excellent. This is a really wonderful profession path to have. You are meant to help people. Now, it all depends on which type of specific job you want to align yourself with. I am reading here for the vast collective, and I did try to keep the reading as broad as possible. So I do see here actions that are selfless and in the benefit of others. It's a pretty straightforward message with you. I feel that the energy is so clear. You could also help people that have certain capacities. So let's call them occult capacities. And you might be able to maybe help them with interpreting astrological charts for them, doing Reiki or long distance healing. You could even teach online. I feel that somehow your interactions for a branch of you, those that chose this pile and the Arabic bookmark, for a branch of you, you might be drawn to teaching, educating people in places that are very far to reach. Maybe people that live very close to the North Pole, and you know they have to skate to school, or people that live in mountainous regions. You know, I don't know, around the Himalayas, and it's very hard for them to reach schools or gain access to education because of the weather over there. So I feel that you will be helping both people that need fair access to education, but also people that are struggling somehow due to some sort of local political conflict, or yeah, maybe something like their economy is shattered at the moment, or there is there is a measure here of danger, but I feel like you're protected in whatever you're doing because you bring with you this really gorgeous energy, right? You're like protected by the angel. Usually in the judgment card, this is a representation of Archangel Gabriel. So I feel that somehow you have a capacity of healing people through your communication as well. So you could potentially need to write articles and publish them in academic journals to try to raise awareness of the needs or the necessities of vulnerable groups around the world. Or you could be writing pieces for the New York Times, right, or the Washington Post, very important newspapers that have a far wide reach and could prove to be highly influential. You could also be writing for National Geographic. You know, I feel that there is a sense here that you are protecting both people, children, wildlife, vulnerable groups on this earth, groups that have been taken advantage of. They're known to be taken advantage of for centuries, right? But you're standing up for their rights and you're doing it from a place of pure heartedness. You know, you're not that interested in money. You might not have a career that is giving you a lot of monetary success, but when you go to bed at night, you sleep better knowing that you're genuinely doing something to make the world a better place. So it's really, really sweet energy, group 3. You guys, oh, it's very adorable. Not to throw the other groups under the bus. They had a specific energy for themselves. But I do feel that here, yeah, this is the energy of a healer, of a nurturer, of an unconditional giver. I feel like you guys have been educated or raised in an environment where either your parents were very giving and moral, or you had to give a lot to other people, so it became like your reflex. Now it's kind of like it's your second nature. You are a giver by nature, and you are meant to protect and defend other people. Sorry about the lens frame. Yeah, so Sandalphon is one of the ancient archangels. It's one of the first, together with Metatron, and it's such this gorgeous energy of vitality, empathy, life, love, unconditional giving. And I do see this reflected in the type of work that you are meant to do. You are meant to genuinely help people get out of difficult life circumstances. You might be this rock for them. You might find that a lot of people, pets, children come to you, even on the streets as you're walking. You know, they might come to you, ask you for directions, or ask you, you know, if you can, maybe a child comes to you and says, you know, I lost my parents. Can you help me find them? Or maybe, you know, there's a kitty up in the tree and you're meant to help bring it back down. Or maybe old people come to you and they say, could you please help me cross the street? So on and so forth, you know. So all these little random small acts of kindness, it's kind of like you're a magnet for them, you know. And I think that you are meant to accrue a lot of good dharma in this lifetime. So it's kind of like you're stepping away from your karmic debts, you're fulfilling them, or you will have fulfilled them by the time you reach your first Saturn return, and then boom, it's like your whole life is going to be about making other people's lives better, almost like an angel. So this is what I had for you, group 3. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. In a second, I'll show you a picture with your spread, okay? I hope to see you guys in my next one. Bye, 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 bye. Hey, group 4. I'm so happy you're here. Hello, guys. This is for those of you that were drawn to the Tills Bookshop Bookmark. Bookshop Bookmark. Try saying that really quickly. It's like a preparation for an actor's audition, right? So I'm going to pull 4 different cards. I hope it's only going to be 4. Usually they've been 5 so far, but we'll see what pops up to try to uncover what are you meant to do in this lifetime. So I consciously made the choice to keep this as broad as possible. I did not pick the profession or career path because that's up to you. Just give you some clues as to, what might you orient yourself in what direction? What are some of the actions that you can take in order to gain an income and feel successful, feel like your temperament is fitting with that specific career path? But it's up to you whether you want to just have a selection of jobs or whether you genuinely want to build a career, because a career is something that you build over time through a number of job opportunities, okay? And training periods. So let's find out right now what cards you have. The Warrior. Oh, look at this card. Let's see your tarot card as well from the Good Tarot. So what do we have here for group 4? The Moon. This is already quite similar energy to group 1, but I'm sure there's a twist here. You are a bit of a contradiction, group 4. Okay. Too many decks. Okay, so from the Angelarium and Mausolea oracles, you got 2 cards that just did not want to separate. So we have here Anubis, the arbiter of truth, also ruler of the underworld. So we have here preservation, neutrality, and obligation. Anubis was the one that was weighing your soul before it passed into the other life. And we have here Hathor, mistress of harmony. And your keywords are mediation, communication, culture. Okay, so there are some threads here between group 1 and group 2 in the kind of work that you're supposed to be doing. A lot of you could be Cancers or Aries that chose this pile. I don't know why, but with the Moon and the Warrior here, I'm getting these vibes that you can be somebody that is quite sensitive, but can even fly off in rages from time to time. I feel that you express your feelings very clearly. You could have your Moon on the ascendant. You might not be able to control your feelings so well. This is a lot about masculinity that is incredibly sensitive. So if you are a woman, you might be very strongly into your masculine persona, but at the same time, your core is still that sensitive, feminine, nurturing self. If you're a man, you're very in tune with your sensitive emotions. You could be a great analyst, you could be a great intuitive healer or tarot reader, even shaman. You could be into spirituality as well. You could be like working in a profession such as a priest or a monk. Or delivering spiritual counsel to people. You could actually be working for one of those Samaritan phone lines, helping people with addictions and suicide problems stay alive. You could be genuinely fighting for their spirit with the warrior energy here. A lot of your profession takes place at nighttime. This is my researcher pile. This is, I feel like you guys could be shadowing political people and you could be writing their speeches for them, or you could be preparing their campaigns. You are the strategist, the planner, but you could also be very ruthless when the situation requires it. If you need to defend your job, you are going to stand up and defend it. Your profession could involve a lot of you needing to empower other people, as I said earlier, to stay alive, or you needing to constantly come up with creative and sarcastic replies back, especially if you work in a profession that involves a lot of power players, like the world of politics. I feel that this is also my writer's pile, but writers that are not really poets or very much into metaphors, but it's more like a Truman Capote kind of energy, or Albert Camus. Like, you love to just use sparse sentences to describe very important social conditions. You could be drawn to existentialism or nihilism, or just like Truman Capote, he wrote in cold blood. So you could be drawn to profiling criminals, or writing tell-all biographies about, what it means to interview a group of psychopaths. I'm getting a very strong, do you know that Netflix show Hannibal? You could be a counselor, just like the main character in that series. Or just as in Mindhunter, you could be one of the researchers that ends up working for the FBI, the early days of the FBI. So I do feel that you guys are very, you could be a pioneer in your field. I feel for some of you, there is a sense of spirit is not wanting to tell me exactly what profession you might take, because I feel that with the warrior spirit here, this is Aries energy any time of the day for me, but also with the moon that involves secrecy, not knowing, dealing with the world that is barely material, a world that is elusive, right? You could be creating your own profession in this lifetime. So you could be self-employed. You might have to do long hours of research, and this is why you work when it's quiet and still outside, so in the hours of the night. You could also be a designer, or you could draw cartoons, or you could create collages. I feel like you could decorate t-shirts or other forms of merchandise. I think you could be quite influential if you do that. So yeah, definitely look into becoming an illustrator or a designer. I feel that this profession would suit you very well. We do have here Arbiter of Truth and Mistress of Harmony. So yeah, this is giving me very strong Libra and Scorpio vibes. It's kind of like there is a part of you that is very drawn to the macabre. You might be drawn to watching a lot of criminal series, but at the same time, and solving a lot of puzzles and mysteries. Like, I feel that if you hear a secret, you are very good at keeping it. So many people could come to you and share their secrets with you, and thereby you gain a lot of power, because if you were to reveal those secrets, it will be game over for them. But at the same time, you wouldn't do that. I feel like you're genuinely feeding yourself of these secrets. You enjoy it. You enjoy being a person's confidant. You could have some very interesting enmeshed relationships with people in positions of authority. So if you're a PhD student working with a professor, you might end up dating them, or the same, if you're an assistant working for a politician, you might end up marrying them or dating them. There's this kind of feeling of, or a laboratory research assistant working with a doctor or a psychotherapist, the same. I feel like you could end up forming some sort of like hidden couple for a while until you make your relationship public. But I do think that, you could be publishing works together, conducting research together, writing together. There is this sense of you're both arbiters of truth, but also you love creativity. You love to delve into the deeper aspects of the human nature, and you love to balance the masculine with the feminine. I'm getting some very strong Cancer and Capricorn vibes as well here. That kind of nurturing maternal energy paired with a come to daddy approach that Capricorns usually have. So yeah, it's a very, very interesting contradictory energy with you. As I said, you could embody this in your personality. So you could be blowing hot and cold. You could be very calm for long periods of time, and then have a lot of intense feelings and be very passionate, but you could also fly off in a rage if somebody disrespected you. Or you could be researching for a very long period of time, and then you will go through a period where you need to go on a book tour or have some TED Talks to present your research to the masses. Or if you're a singer, writer, creative person, you might need to go literally on a tour, right, to advertise your new creation. Definitely, this is what I see for you guys. So you're creative mystery solvers. You are seekers of truth, but you are embellishing it in a way. You're transforming it into a product and delivering it to the world in some form. You are pioneers. You're pioneers, definitely. And you might work in a profession that is emotional or meant to create and spark up emotions into other people, such as creative illustration, right? People might tend to go like, oh, wow, this is so pretty, or wow, so interesting, what an imagery you have. I think some of you could be very good at decorating sci-fi books as well. I don't know why, sci-fi and fantasy books, you know, young adult fiction especially. So that's kind of what I see for you. Group 4, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Stay tuned because in a second I'll show you a photo of your spread. And yeah, I hope to see you guys again in my next reading. I hope you enjoyed this format. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Sending you away with a beautiful kiss.